Alright, welcome to another video, and in this one we're talking more Mortal Kombat 11, and I want to talk about who I think could potentially beat the new villain, Kronika, this female mysterious woman who apparently can control time, along with her friend Geras, who also seems to be able to control time himself. So these are two new characters, and they are the main boss, or at least Kronika is. The Geras fellow, he might just be like a side guy, kind of like Goro or Kintaro or Moloch, someone of that nature. So he's probably just a side guy, a second ranked, while Kronika is the big main villain. But I've come up with 5 characters that I think are going to be the ones to end Kronika and defeat this mysterious woman and her time-bending powers. So I guess let's go ahead and get started with that, and I'll start with number 5, although I don't really have a complete set order as to which one I would think is most likely or anything like that. I think they're all 5 pretty decent, but let's just start off with number 5. So here we go. Okay, so my first thought is maybe Geras and Kronika are like this timeline's deadly alliance, and therefore, much like Quan Chi and Shang Tsung in the original timeline, they eventually turn on one another, and as two very powerful fighters that can manipulate time, maybe they go at it, and one of them eventually comes out on top, most likely Kronika, and when that happens, she will be extremely weak and vulnerable, and that is when one of our heroes, don't know who it is, finishes her off in her weaker state, but it would be her and Geras that really open that door. And so depending on who it is that finishes them, they wouldn't be able to do it without the help of Geras and Kronika betraying each other for more power. But that's just one option. That's just like the first thing that kind of popped in my head. It's probably unlikely that will happen, but it's a possibility because, every Mortal Kombat villain wants more power and wants to become more and more powerful. So maybe that happens to Geras and Kronika. Maybe they get that power itch once they come out and they actually start doing things, and one thing leads to another, and now we have basically a betrayal of the two. They go at it with their time bending abilities, but things backfire. Now the winner's weak, and that opens up the chance for the good guys to take her out. Or Geras. Maybe Geras wins. Who knows? But that's my first thought. Now let's move on to actual heroes that I think could actually defeat Kronika and Geras. Let's go to number 4. Alright. So my next thought is maybe Fujin gets some time to shine as the wind god he is. Maybe they actually utilize him and give him a bigger role than they've ever given him. I mean, after all, like I said, he is a wind god, so he is obviously powerful, and he has had just as much experience as Raiden. He helped take on Shinnok the first time and partially the second time in that little segment that they actually showed him. That was the one thing I hated, was that he never showed up as a character on the roster, DLC, or anything. He was just gone. And even in the story mode, he's only in the very first segment. So maybe, just maybe, he comes back in MK11 and in a bigger role. Maybe he's the one that takes on Kronika and her men, and he's the big hero of MK11. I'd love to see this because he fits the role perfectly. I mean, he's a freaking god. So he has the power. He has the knowledge. Why not? I mean, Raiden had his time to shine in MK9, and he would be a much better hero than Cassie Cage and her magical ancient green powers that apparently are strong enough to take on an Elder God plus 1/8 of the One Being's power on top of that when he absorbed Earthrealm, but whatever. But I really do think Fujin would be an excellent choice, and I wouldn't be mad at all. And I don't think anyone would be mad because a lot of people are craving more Fujin. Not just to be on the roster, but to be in the story. So that's my next pick as to who I think has the potential to defeat Kronika and Geras and whoever else is going to show up in this story mode. Hopefully we at least get to see him in the story mode, and even more so, have a big part in defeating Kronika. Now let's move on to my next pick, number 3. Let's do it. Alright, so my next thought is the traditional Liu Kang reemerges and defeats Kronika and Geras. We have time bending, so we know we're going to get the good Liu Kang back, at least in a past version. And maybe, just maybe, this past version interacts with the Revenant version of himself and frees him from his Revenant form. And now we have a Liu Kang combo that goes in and they take on Geras and Kronika together as 2 Liu Kangs from 2 different timelines, go in and take on these 2 time-bending, whatever they are, gods, I don't even know, and defeat them. Because, I mean, Liu Kang has quite the list of victories. Shang Tsung, Goro, Shao Kahn. I mean, this dude's not shy from the people that he's defeated. So I think that would be cool. I also wouldn't mind if, since there's this whole time-bending thing, why not just throw in Zombie Liu Kang as well? I mean, just have like a whole bunch of Liu Kangs come around. I don't think they'll go that crazy, but I could see Liu Kang being the guy that takes on this Kronika figure and defeats her, because that was just like the traditional thing, and I would love to see it. I'd love to see Liu Kang come back because he was such a traditional character. So that's my next thought, is the champion of Mortal Kombat reemerges as just as such, the champion. Alright, so my next pick for who I think will defeat Kronika and Geras is Corrupt Raiden. In MKX, he talked about how he was super strict, he was no longer giving warning, he was no longer defending, but rather attacking. If you have so much cough on Earthrealm, he's going to destroy you. And if he's really that strict and he's really that serious about it, why not have him be the guy that defeats Kronika and Geras? Since he is so powerful now and he has the amulet of Shinnok on top of that, I really do think that he's the next one to defeat the big villain, Kronika. I think it would be a cool fight. I think it would be an interesting fight, just because of the possibilities of what we could potentially see. I mean, he ripped off Shinnok's head, so who knows? Although they were kind of hinting at the fact that maybe Shinnok returns, could he potentially get payback and return and get the amulet himself? I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities. All I know is that Raiden is one of my top choices to defeat Kronika. Let's move on to my next one. Okay, so my next thought is that Noob Saibot returns. This is my favorite one that I thought of. Noob Saibot returns, and he is the one to defeat Kronika and Geras. I'm really hoping this is what could happen, just because, you know, Noob Saibot was a really cool character that they didn't do much with in MK9. You know, he gets beat, and that's all he does. Literally, even when he was Sub-Zero, he got beat. Sonya, Scorpion, Cabal, Nightwolf, Cyber Sub-Zero, Kung Lao. I mean, all these characters beat him. He didn't get one win. But at the end of the day, he gets thrown into a Soulnado. But we do know you can survive a Soulnado. It is possible that he is still alive, because characters have done that before with Scorpion, who survived it in Deadly Alliance. He got thrown into a Soulnado, and he survived, becoming the Elder God champion. So maybe that's what happens. Maybe Noob Saibot survives, he becomes the Elder God champion, and he is the only one who can defeat these time-bending deities or sorcerers, whatever they are. And so Noob Saibot comes in as the new Elder God champion, defeats these guys, and that's what we get. Now we know they've teased that Noob Saibot will be returning, like with this quote right here.
I believe your brother still exists. What do you know of him? Only that he must remain unfound.
Alright, so those are the characters that I think have the best or not really the best, but those are just the characters that I'm thinking might be the ones to defeat. The Kronika character and the Geras characters, whatever they are, whatever their roles will be as like rank, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they're the higher than the Elder God status. I don't know what they are. We will find out, but I think these characters have good potential as to defeating them. And there are others. I mean, Scorpion could have a big role. You could have anyone like, I don't know, Kung Lao. Maybe Kung Lao gets the big role. Maybe it's not Liu Kang, but rather Kung Lao or Ermac. I mean, Sindel could come back. Katana. You just don't know. There's several options. These are just five. These are just five that I kind of thought of and thought that would be interesting. I really hope it's the Noob Saibot one, personally, just because he's one of my top favorite characters, and I would really like to see him come back and do this whole Elder God champion thing and, you know, be the one that slays the big enemy. Then again, maybe they bring back Shijinko and he does it. I don't know. I just hope it's not another one of the younger characters like Cassie Cage or Takeda or Kung Jin or Jackie. I don't want it to be any of them, but I want to go ahead and end this episode here, and I will see you all in the next one. So, see ya then. Don't got too much longer. MK11 will be out before you know it. Can't wait. See you later.